Hi, hello. Welcome, welcome. We're here today to talk about AWID's work to co-create feminist realities, this new journey we've embarked on, and how we're envisioning a process of co-creation together with movements. My name is Margarita Salas, and I work with AWID in communications. And here with me today are two excellent guests, AWID's co-executive director, Hakima Abbas, greeting us from Dakar, and AWID's Director of Co-Creating Feminist Realities and the Forum, Alejandra Sardat Chandiramani, greeting us for Montevideo. Very happy to be with you both here, and they'll be sharing their insights on this area of AWID's work and how you can get involved. So whether you're here with us live, thank you for being here, or if you're watching the recorded video later, please post your comments and questions in the comment section and we'll respond them either during the session or after the session has ended. We're also sharing a link in the comment section for anyone who wants to stay in touch and be part of this journey. So be sure to check that out and sign up to our mailing list. So to kick things off, Ale, can you tell us how you understand this concept of feminist realities and what excites you most about this work?
Sure. Hi, everybody. For me, and I will give my own definition at this moment. For me, feminist realities are those moments in which patriarchy stops or fails. Those moments can happen in our minds, can happen in the world, and everywhere in between. No, I would say that the feminist reality is born when we stop just resisting, engaging with everything that is against us, to actually move to create the world we want to live in ourselves. Feminist realities are all those ideas, practices, projects, enterprises, adventures that we are constantly told that they cannot exist, that they cannot be, but in spite of everything they are. And they have a long history in feminist and in other social movements. And if you put them all together, I would say they told the story of how we are transforming the world and how we have transformed the world.
That sounds great. That sounds great. A world we want to move in, a world that we're already transforming. What do you think about this concept, Hakima?
I couldn't agree more. And I think what I love about it is the idea that it's about what we're proposing and what we as feminists are building, the type of world that we want to live in, the world that includes freedom and justice and that's emancipatory, and that the fact that these exist, us not using the language of alternatives, because what we're centering is, as Alejandra said, the ways in which the story is told from the perspective of the most oppressed, but the story of the world and the story of all of the things that we are not just resisting, but that we're building.
So telling the story from our own perspective, what brought AWID to this work? Why are we focusing now on feminist realities in this moment? What is it that we want to achieve through this?
I think it's really been a long journey, Maggie. We've been thinking about propositions, about I think in all of the work that AWID has been doing, but also that our feminist movements, as Alejandra said, for centuries have been also not only resisting, but also building. But one moment in that was the last AWID forum, which happened in 2016 in Brazil, which was really focused on this idea of feminist futures and the imagination of what we can build in the world. And in those conversations, what struck us was how much in that imagination there were already seeds of that reality in our lives, in our movements, in our communities, in our factories, in our schools, etc. And so we really honed in on that and thought, wouldn't it be important that we both kind of unearth and recognize and acknowledge and celebrate these feminist realities, but also that we debate them, that we have conversation, that we understand them better, that we understand where we fail in that and what we do better. Because I think what's really clear in this world where we understand and hear realities, what we think of is all the difficult things, all the challenging, all the oppression in the world. To shift that lens and to also kind of prefiguratively put forward the world that we want to live in and try to figure out how we water those seeds that exist of that world.
So moving from feminist futures to feminist realities because of seeds that already exist. What are some of the examples of the seeds and of this feminist reality, Sally?
Well, you mentioned seeds, and one example I can think of has to do with seeds. It's in India. In India, there are 5,000 women, which is small for India, but still significant. They have a community-based food sovereignty system that, of course, is based in local knowledge and includes the exchange of grain and seeds through grain and seeds banks. This is something that, of course, the food sovereignty movements also do, but we are, in some cases, there is the added value of this having a feminist perspective. A similar thing happens in Mexico with el cambalache, which is a system of what we call trueque, is moneyless exchange system by which you give, and you can give things, you can give knowledge, you can give time, and you receive things, time, knowledge from other people. Another one from Africa this time. It's a project by which African judges and African lawyers came together, and they decided to begin writing alternative judgments for landmark cases in which the official judicial verdict has been very patriarchal and shows the gender bias in justice. And by rewriting these verdicts through a feminist perspective, they are, of course, they maybe not be able for now to actually influence on how the law is carried, but they are influencing and changing the minds of people on how they see justice. And I would like to give one more, which is also from, sorry, I'll do it fast, but I am originally from Argentina, and I cannot not mention everything that has been done around medical abortion. The fact that women came together, taught each other how to do a medical abortion, appropriated that knowledge from the medical system that in theory is the only one who knows our bodies better than ourselves, and also created networks of solidarity where women help each other to access the medicines, but also keep each other company and remove the stigma of abortion while doing all this. So I hope these 4 very different examples can help explain a bit better what we are talking about.
Yes, thank you. Yes, Hakima.
I just wanted to add something to that, Maggie, because as Alejandra was describing those examples, I was thinking how important it is that so many of these feminist realities really defy the very logic of the oppression that these communities and these identities are facing. And that there's something really powerful about that appropriation of knowledges, and that we're able to, in many ways, self-determine despite the oppressions that we're facing.
So we're talking about experiences that are happening. Are they perfect experiences? Are they completely finished experiences? What kind of experiences are they?
I think that's the thing, right? If they were perfect, then we would have won, and we wouldn't all be here doing this work. So indeed, and they're limited, sometimes limited. We're limited by the context that we're in. We're limited by the oppressions that we face. We're limited by many things. They may be imperfect. There's certainly debates to be had about whether something really is a feminist reality, because how much does it fully defy that logic versus whether it, takes on some of the oppressive characteristics of other of the world that we live in. So there are those debates to be had, but in that imperfection, I think, again, are the seeds of the potentials that we have to really create another world.
Right, so we're talking about breaking away from a system that isn't necessarily uniform, finding cracks in that system. Some of the examples that you were mentioning breaking this up, and also discussing about what are the limitations and what's the reach of this experience. And this is part of what we want to do when we say co-creating. So when we invite others to co-create, to join us in the journey, what do we mean by co-create?
I think just that, right? All of us have experienced feminist realities in our different contexts, in our different struggles and movements. All of us have moments, and they can be very kind of personal, they can be all the way to structural and very macro experiences of some of these. And so what we're inviting people to do is to work with us and unearth these, to really amplify these, to have conversations in their own communities about what these feminist realities are, to debate them, as I mentioned, to really analyze and share that analysis with the world. Because our sense is that one of the things that's really important in this moment in the world, where many of us are feeling the devastation of some of the oppressions that we face, that these provide both hope as well as the potential to expand and to exchange and to learn from one another around these across our different contexts and identities and perspectives. And so we have many stops as AWID in this journey, some of which are online, some of like this conversation, some of which are offline, and include the AWID forum, but there are many stops that we'd love to invite people to.
So this is a very important part. We're not only talking about feminist realities, we are actually inviting you who are watching us right now and who will watch us later, inviting you to join us in a journey with several stops. And what are some of these activities that people can look forward to, Ale?
Yeah, I can mention just the ones that are happening soon. In October, we will have an online workshop of something that we have put together, which was announced sometime before, which is what we call the Feminist Realities Toolkit, which is a toolkit with exercises and different ways, different techniques that you can use to highlight these realities in your context with people in your community, in your movement. So that's in October. In November, the 25 years of Beijing are happening and are quite a strong focus of attention for feminist movements all over the world. And we are launching an open call for young feminists from the European region to engage in this process from this perspective, which for some people may sound quite funny, but the propositional aspect, the fact that we can create, at least among us, an agenda for the 21st century using the Beijing platform, we think there is something interesting to be done there. That will happen in November. Also in November, we are going to show a film that is called Naila and the Upraising, and it's a powerful journey looking at women's organizing in the first Intifada in Palestine. And after this, we will have a discussion. And to end the year in December, we will have an interactive presentation on autonomous resourcing, which is groups that are self-funded and are looking at ways of supporting their work complementary to the traditional donors or completely ignoring the traditional donors. So that will be our December proposition. And I will stop there. Much more will come next year. But
okay, so we have several activities coming up and we want people to join us. But I understand that we also want people to propose activities?
Yes, we have our open channels and we would like to hear if people, for instance, if people want to take our Feminist Realities Toolkit and do an activity in their community, we would love to hear how it went. If you need any support from us, that will be wonderful. And if people have any idea of a discussion topic they want to bring about, we are also willing to hear from them. Sorry.
Excellent. So we're hoping people will join us in these discussions. Why? Why should people join us in this discussion? What's in it for me? If I'm an organization, if I'm an activist from another part of the world, where's the benefit for me in joining you?
I think the benefit is really in us connecting with one another. I think we all benefit from that, from hearing and exchanging and learning and debating, and so that in our practice, we can be strengthened. And I think that even that sense of solidarity, that others in other contexts are trying something similar or experimenting where we failed, and being really vulnerable and honest with one another to share some of those things, I think is so important, because our movements are very diverse. We're in lots of different places. I know it's difficult for us to connect together in so many different ways because of access and all of these things, but I think the conversations enrich us all.
Yes, definitely.
If I may add, and even if you feel, oh, there is nothing like that in my context is really terrible, we would never be able to do anything of this is all utopian, up in the sky, try to join us even more so, because you may realize it's not actually like that, and you may also get inspiration and hope and enthusiasm from others. So even if you think it's impossible, give it a little try.
Yes, there's a lot in this for everyone. There's hope, there's experiences, there's knowledge, there's limitations, and there's connecting throughout different parts of the world. If you haven't seen our Feminist Realities Toolkit yet, we're going to pop right now a link in our comment box so that you can see, and you can link directly to the Feminist Realities Toolkit. And also, we're inviting everybody to join the list, to sign up for the list, so that you can receive automatic reminders of the activities that we are going to be doing. Thank you so much, Hakima and Ale, for this conversation. At AWID, we're really excited about all the future possibilities of exchange and strategizing with you in this co-creation process. So please look out for much more in the upcoming months. And remember to check out the links in the comment section and sign up to our mailing list to join us in this journey. So we are saying goodbye for now. We'll keep talking from Costa Rica, from Dakar, and from Montevideo, and from all over the world. We are hoping to see you in the upcoming months, and we'll be having activities in different languages. We'll be having activities in different platforms and sharing all these topics.
Thank you.
Thank you, and keep tuned, because there will be news about the forum at some point also. Let's not forget the forum.
Yes, we're going to be announcing soon our forum, so stay tuned.